Hey everybody, David Bott here from OutsiderBubble.com, and today we're going to talk mobile communications. I know what you're thinking. Dave, you've already talked about this. Yes, I have, but that's been in the past. This is the future, or technologies change. And what I mean by that is the 4G data frequencies, for the most part, has moved around somewhat, and because of that, the equipment you might have used in the past, like we have, while it still works, isn't as good as it could be. So seeing that we rely on mobile communications, being phone and data, we want to make sure we're current and up to date. So with that said, remember this? This is the old Wilson trucker antenna that was on our roof. Notice I said it was on our roof. Obviously it was, I have it in my hand. Anyways, this has been replaced now by a new antenna, a 4G antenna that's capable of doing the higher frequencies of 2100, which means this antenna before was actually giving you a negative impact. And the new antennas actually give you a boost like it's supposed to be doing. So out with the old, in with the new, and by the way, this is what it looks like. Insert photo here. Okay, so this is the new antenna, and we'll see if this all works out, if my imaginary antenna is here. Any case, so what happens with the antenna? Before, we used to use a Wilson Sleek for our boosting, which is right here still, and you would take your cell phone and you would slide it in the cradle, and that's how you'd get your increased performance. We've moved away from that, and now we're going to a WeBoost 4G-X. You might have seen these reviewed before, and they're always positive reviews, and I have to say, I can see why. Now, originally, this was going to be an open box demonstration. I was going to open this up, take it out, hook it all up, and show you how it works right from the get-go. However, when I started messing around with it, I said, heck with it, I'm just going to install this thing, and I did. So you're going to see the after effects of this being installed. And what this is you got your antenna on the roof, the new one. It comes down, goes into this amplifier. The amplifier comes out, goes to a plate antenna for the inside of the coach. Now, that increases the signal strength inside to give you better signal reception inside your motorhome. You know, with the antenna on the roof that boosts it and brings it in and gives you blah 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 more power. You know all this. But here's the catch-22 on this. Don't think it's going to cover your entire coach. It's not going to cover your entire coach. The reason for that is because FCC mandates it can only travel so far outside of your vehicle. Remember, these are made for mobile. You don't want to be going down the road and cut people's cell phone signals off as you pass them because they jumps to you and then you drive away and they lose their call. Even worse is if it happens to emergency vehicles. You don't want to be responsible for that. So that's why the FCC mandates that. But because of that, you have to remember, you're only good within 3 to 4 feet of that antenna for boosting. And while it doesn't sound like a lot, it actually is. And this is why we've installed our system in the front of the coach, because when we're driving, we are within 3 feet of the antenna in both the driver and passenger seats. So with that said, let me show you how it all comes together. Let me show you how it works, and let me show you where we have ours installed, and I'll be able to show you both the frequency, the signal gain, and also the data speeds gain. So let's go on and do that. So, welcome to our communications area. Doesn't look like much, does it? All the magic's behind here. This is the plate antenna I was talking about. This is the antenna that actually is for the inside of the coach. It's a directional antenna, so it's pointing back toward the coach. Because of our placement here, we have our chairs to the left and right of us, of course, and so we actually do get a signal increase when we turn on the amplifier, or in our case, it's always on. So, our data closet. In here, this is our communications area, our router, and of course, what we've been talking about, the WeBoost Drive 4G-X. WeBoost Drive 4G-X. So, as we talked about, it's mounted in here. The antenna comes in from the outside down here, and then out of the top of it comes down and goes to our plate antenna here. Now, what else do you notice? You notice our jetpack. This is our Verizon jetpack for data. And it's sitting down here because it's very close to the antenna. So we get the gains that we need being this close. It's great. So I'll show you that in a minute, how our gains increase as we turn on and turn off the WeBoost. Yeah. So here's the plate antenna we talked about. And it's sitting here, and right behind that door, our Verizon jetpack. And our Verizon jetpack right now is reading negative 109 dB. That's the signal. That's what's the important part right now. That's a pretty poor signal, negative 109. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug in the WeBoost. I now powered it up, and let's see what happens. negative 85 dB. That's a huge gain in signal strength. And because the jetpack is so close to the antenna, it's going to benefit from that. But at the same time, where we're sitting, we're going to benefit from that on our cell phone signal for voice. So in any case, what this means is we have increased signal strength. And the booster is doing that from the antenna at the top, coming down, going inside, going to the plate antenna, and then of course going to the jetpack and back out. Now, this all translates into data. So let's see how that actually works with the data speeds now. Okay, after all that mumbo jumbo and all that stuff I talked about, the WeBoost, now let's see how all that translates into data, which is the most important things to us, right? Data and cellular connection. Well, we know if we have good data, we're probably going to have good cell connection. So we're just going to show you the data. And, well, it was under the watchful eye of Whisper, but as you can see, he can care less at this point. But anyways, what we have here is my MacBook Pro, and that is connected wirelessly to my router. My router then is connected via USB to the Verizon Jetpack. So, as you can see down here on the screen, it says Verizon Wireless. So you know that we are on the Jetpack currently. So let's go ahead and run a test, shall we? So I'm going to select the server, and we're going to see what happens. Now, we're in a pretty good area, so I expect my download speeds to be pretty good as it is. And I expect my upload speeds to be so-so. And sure enough, I'm getting from really good download speeds. And I mention this for a reason. That's because if you're in a good reception area anyways, you may not gain anything in download speed because you're already getting all the tower's going to give you. So, but if you're further away, that's where the power of the bigger antenna and the amplifier comes in to increase your download speeds because you're able to reach it further. When you're close, it's not as important. However, where it does play a role is right here, the upload speeds. The upload right here, as you can see, is 3.8 or so. I expect that to at least double going out. And the reason for that is because we can put out much more power with the big antenna and the booster than that little jetpack can. Remember, it's all about the signal strength. So 26.22, 3.93. I don't expect the download speed to do much better than that. Maybe a little, maybe the same, but I do expect to see the upload speed go way up, and that's how you can actually really then tell the booster is doing what it's supposed to do. So let's go turn the booster on, shall we? Come on. Okay, currently at negative 106. Turning the booster on. Now, just a note, this light will go green and red, green and red. That's because it's setting itself up. As soon as it goes solid green, then you're good to go. And good to go. So we're at negative 83 now. So from negative 106 to negative 83, let's see what happens to our speeds. Here we go. We're going to hit test again. So I'm using the same servers and everything. We had about 26 down and 3.5 up or something like that, if I recall. Let's see what happens. Well, we are getting more download speed, so that's great. Now, what I really expect to see is I expect to see the outgoing data to be much improved over 3.5. Here we go. Sure enough, just as we should be, we are more than doubling our outgoing speed. And that's, again, because we got a better signal going out, so we can transmit more data more reliably. So as you can see, our speeds are going out are really good. Our speeds that were coming down also increased. And that shows that the booster is doing what it's supposed to do. It's boosting. It's taking that signal from the outside, bringing it in, repeating it, and amplifying it, and then doing the reverse going back out. Okay, now, remember we talked about being close to the seats and the front antenna? And there's a reason for that. It's because, once again, the FCC says we can't broadcast out too much power. So what does that mean for your cell phone reception? Well, let's go see, shall we? Now, this is unscripted. Brenda doesn't know I'm doing this, so she's probably like, what the heck? So, we're coming back up here. The Wilson is on, the WeBoost is on. That whole thing still gets me. I'm so used to Wilson products. Any case, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to turn on my signal light indicator. And here's the plate antenna I'm talking about. Now, what you're looking at is the LTE signal. And you can see we're negative 98. And that's because we're getting a signal coming from this plate antenna. Now, as we move away from that antenna, that signal will slightly decrease. And by decrease, it goes lower negative numbers. And if I come closer to the antenna, it's going to go the other way. It's going to go back down. Now, this works because, it's an antenna. The closer you get, the more power. And since we have it up in front of the coach, we are getting an improved signal. Now, what happens though if we're not using the WeBoost? Well, you'll see that signal goes right to trash. Negative 96. Watch this. It's probably going to go back to negative 106 or so. Yep, sure enough. You can see that we're back to poor signal strength, and that's how much it does improve. Negative 110. Wow, that's bad. So, I'm David Bott from Outside Our Bubble. This was Mobile Communications on the Road, Data and Mobile, with a new product. Well, that's not so new. It's been out for a little while now, but I finally got my hands on one, and I had to install it. It works that great. This is unpaid endorsement, as you know, but I just wanted to tell you what we're doing today for mobile communications on the road. That is the WeBoost, got it right this time, Drive 4G-X. I'm David Bott from OutsideOurBubble.com, and we'll see you on the road. Bye.